Anyways, I hope that you're having a good day. I hope that you're having a great day. But if you happen to be having just a terrible day, just a no good day, I hope that it gets just like a few steps better. Alrighty, why don't we get started, shall we? Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Grief Brief. As always, if you're new to the Grief Brief, here is a really quick rundown. My mom passed away in September of 2016. I spent the time that followed recording my thoughts and feelings on Instagram and Snapchat and all the like, and I decided to culminate all of those videos or videos that I didn't even share and put them out into the ether so that other people might feel less alone and less destigmatized in their grief and their mourning. And that's what the Grief Brief is. So welcome back. We are on episode 17. 17. You'll notice a pattern in the clips that you're going to see from Monday to today. This week is kind of like a two-parter, I guess you could say. It's the same night, same event. I'm watching the Cubs game, watching them about to win the World Series, and I decided to take a break because I don't really care about the Cubs that much. I'm a Sox fan. So I was like, let me chit-chat and just share my feelings. So I decided to split that up into two parts. Basically, in this part, you're going to hear me expand on what you've kind of heard me discuss a little bit every once in a while. The idea that when someone passes away, especially someone close to you passes away, it changes your story. You know, when they don't die of old age, but they have died unexpectedly, suddenly, when you lose someone out of nowhere, it changes what you think your life is going to be like, especially like if they're a strong fixture in your life and they're gone. What does the rest of your life look like? Because you thought this is how they were going to fit in and your life was going to fit around them. And now it's no longer. So I sort of just dissect that and how I feel about it and where I thought my mom was going to fit in and how she's not there anymore to do that. So what does that mean? Do I change my mind? Do I not do these things that I thought were going to happen? How do I compensate or deal with the fact that when these events happen, this person I thought would be there and be involved in it won't be? And how does that work? I've got no idea. But that is what you're going to hear me discuss and sort of dissect in this episode. So I hope that you feel less crazy in your grief. You kind of understand where somebody else might be feeling in their own grief. And we can all just sort of share in our confusion, our lost sort of states of being together. Alrighty. I hope you enjoy.
I think the hardest part, I think the hardest part in terms of after someone you care about has passed away, someone who was so significant to your life, like a parent or a sibling or a lover, or a spouse or a child, or just someone you were very close to, your best friend. The hardest part about it, in my opinion, after they die, obviously the hard part is losing them and knowing that they're no longer around, they can't experience these things with you. The hard part of moving on with your life is it comes from the understanding, the realization that the story that you created for yourself, for your life, no more. Doesn't exist. It's gone. And that is so difficult to wrap your head around. The future you thought you were going to have with your husband, the future you thought your kids are going to have, the fact that you just knew your mom and your dad were going to be around until you grew old and you got married and you had your own kids and they were going to be grandparents and then they were going to die at some point after you had kids and your life was settled. And that's the way it was going to go. And I think that is such a difficult thing to wrap your head around and to understand, and I think that's part of where the confusion comes. I think the confusion is twofold. One, it's that someone you care about, someone you were so close to, someone who existed and was so real and tangible, just doesn't exist anymore. They just don't. That's not to say their spirit doesn't exist, if you believe that, but their tangible, real life body is no longer here. And it's just gone. And it's sort of coming to terms with that, like, immediate just disappearance of this person that you care about. And then the second part is sort of wrapping your head around the fact that all of these things that you planned, maybe next month you were going on vacation, maybe 2 days after the day they died, you had planned on seeing a new movie that came out, you know, something small and insignificant like getting coffee with this person versus something huge like getting walked down the aisle, or, you know, knowing who you could call when you had financial advice, or you needed financial advice, or you needed to learn about cars or buying your first house, and all of these things that you just don't have the privilege of anymore because this person is gone. So it's sort of wrapping your head around the idea or the understanding that the story you told yourself, the story you crafted for yourself, for your life, has changed drastically and in a way that was completely out of your control. It's not like you broke up with this person. It's not like you disowned your child. They're just gone, and you have no more power in that. And it's sort of understanding and figuring out and coming to grips with the fact that, like, you don't have control in life, that so many things don't make sense, that life is disappointing and it's hard. It's full of joy and it's full of love and all of these great things, but it's also, it freaking sucks and it's difficult. And trying to understand that is so hard. Realizing that you could die tomorrow, or that you could, you know, you might not die at 80, you might die at 45, you might die at 14, you know, realizing all of these things and coming to grips with the fact that you have no control, and figuring out how to move your life forward, understanding this thing, this concept that you might have, you know, gotten in a little bit of a way, but now is full-fledged the truth, and you have no ability to deny it anymore. It's so hard and so difficult. And that's sort of where I'm at right now, if trying to wrap my head around the fact that this is now a part of the story of my life, at a point in time where it was never going to be a part of the story of my life. My mom was always a smoker. She always, you know, she didn't like particularly exercise or anything, so she wasn't like top-notch healthy, but she was great. She was active. She did things. She went out, you know what I mean? She was lively. She just had so much life in her that I just knew, like, oh, she's going to be around. Like, my dad's not a part of my life. So I always knew when I get married, my mom was going to walk me down the aisle. End of story. My mom was going to be there to help me have, you know, raise my first kid. Like, she was just going to be that present. I was so excited to watch her get to be a grandparent. And I'm kind of sad that I wasn't a teenage mom, because she would have been freaking awesome. And it's sort of like, wait, no, now my story, my life is that at 25, my mom died. My name is Taylor Wisham. My mom died at 25. And now for the rest of my life, it's like figuring out what is my life now. Because this is such a huge milestone, a huge transition, such a huge moment in my life, that it's like, how do you climb this mountain? How do you go over this hill? How do you adjust your life, your feelings, your emotions, your spirituality, your mental capacity? How do you adjust everything about yourself and your being to understanding, accepting, finding peace, and continuing on in the same capacity, the same way, or hopefully a better way, a more powerful way than you did before? And that's sort of where I'm like stuck at. And it sucks. And I know it probably sucks for you if you've ever been in this situation or you're going through it right now. And I don't have the answer for you, but just know that you're not alone. Hopefully I'm not alone. I don't think I am. And I'm here for you. Be there for somebody else. Okay, bye.
All right, and that is episode 17. It's a long road. It's a long process to figure out, you know, sort of how to change your life and rearrange your narrative and your story. And it's not easy, and it's hard, and it's very, very, very bittersweet. So if you're in that same boat, you're not alone, and that's kind of nice. Life is ever moving, and it's hard and it's heartbreaking at times, but we sort of have to persevere, if for nothing else than for the people who can no longer be here to do it. We have to tell our stories and remember to include those people into those stories whenever we have the chance. And yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do for my mom. That's what I'm going to try to do for the rest of my life, is to make sure people remember her life and that she was here, she mattered. The people you lose in your life, they mattered, they were important, and it is okay to honor that. As always, thank you so much for watching this episode of The Grief Brief. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can always reach out to me on any of my social media platforms or leave a comment down below. You can also find some websites listed in the little description below of websites that I found very helpful dealing with my own grief, and maybe you might find helpful dealing with yours. If you've never seen an episode of The Grief Brief, it comes out every Monday and Friday, and there's a whole Grief Brief playlist so you can catch up on any episodes you may have missed. You can also just subscribe to my channel and be notified if you really just want to be that attached, and please get that attached. Alright, I will see you all on Monday. I hope that your week has been okay, and I hope that your weekend is freaking bomb. Because why not? Alright, bye-bye.